Hello, dear students. On behalf of Intelletics Institute, I welcome you all. Today in this session, we are going to describe the digestive system of cockroach. In the earlier video, I had shown you how to draw the diagram of the digestive system of cockroach. This is certainly a very important chapter for BSc as well as for 11th and 12th standard, जहाँ पर आपको एक chapter है structural organization of animals, जहाँ पर cockroach एक अहम हिस्सा है. So आज हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं the digestive system of cockroach. Okay, so here I would start with few of the things, the description part of it, and then I shall even simultaneously draw and explain it to you. So we begin with this. The digestive system of cockroach. The digestive system of cockroach consists of two main parts, the alimentary canal and the salivary glands. So here I would write it. It consists of two main parts. Okay. The alimentary canal and the salivary glands. Okay. Now this alimentary canal of cockroach can be divided into three parts. So these are the three parts here. The first part is the foregut, also called as the stomodium. The next part is the midgut, also called as the mesenteron. And the last part is the hindgut, also called as the proctodium. So first thing you'll have to remember is the digestive system of cockroach is made up of two parts. कौन से दो parts है? Alimentary canal और दूसरे है salivary glands. जैसे अपने human digestive system में भी हम कहते हैं कि human digestive system में दो parts है, alimentary canal and the associated glands. उसी तरह से cockroach के digestive system में कितने parts है? दो. पहला है alimentary canal और दूसरा है salivary glands. अब ये जो alimentary canal है, okay, which is 6 to 7 centimeters long, it can be divided into three main parts. So imagine कीजिएगा कि एक alimentary canal है, आप देख सकते हैं. So this is the first part, that's the foregut, mid part, that is the midgut, and this is the last part, that is the hindgut. So it is foregut, midgut, hindgut. So imagine this to be the alimentary canal. So this is the foregut, midgut, hindgut. Up, foregut is also called as stomodium, midgut is also called as mesenteron, and hindgut is also called as proctodium. Now, the foregut is made up of what? The foregut starts up with mouth, which continues into pharynx, which opens into esophagus, which continues into crop, which opens into gizzard, which is also called as the proventriculus. Right? So these are the parts of the foregut. Now coming to the next one, that is the midgut. The midgut, that is mesenteron, consists of which all parts? It consists of stomach. Okay, it consists of stomach, which is called as ventriculus. And at the junction of this, I mean the foregut and the midgut, At the junction of this, we have certain structures that are called as the hepatic or gastric CK. Okay, so these are the parts of the midgut. Midgut is followed by the hindgut, and the hindgut is made up of ileum, colon, and the rectum, which opens to the exterior via anus. Okay, so this is, I would just, yeah, this will be clear, easily seen, right? So the digestive system of cockroach mainly consists of two parts, alimentary canal and the salivary glands. The alimentary canal can be further divided into three parts, the foregut, the midgut, and the hindgut. Foregut is also called as the stomodium, midgut as the mesenteron, hindgut as the proctodium. The foregut और midgut के junction में होते हैं hepatic CK, also called as gastric CK. वैसे midgut और hindgut के junction में होते हैं Malpighian tubules. ये भी मैं यहीं पर लिख देती हूँ so that you don't forget it. Okay, now let's understand the digestive system of cockroach. Okay. Okay, this is here it is. So पहले पहले तो फटाफट हम एक छोटा सा प्यारा सा हैंडसम सा कॉकरोच का आउटलाइन बना देते. ओके, सो अब ये जो है ये फर्स्ट एरिया है. आई विल जस्ट डार्कन इट अप. ओके, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम वेयर? ऑब्वियसली माउथ. बराबर. अब जो माउथ है, माउथ कंसिस्ट ऑफ डिफरेंट व्हाट? डिफरेंट parts, right? The labrum, the mandibles, the maxillae, the labium, and the hypopharynx, that is the tongue. So वहां से ideally alimentary canal की शुरुआत होती है. यानी alimentary का anterior most opening is the mouth and the posterior most opening is the anus. Obviously, anterior most end of the alimentary canal is the mouth through which ingestion takes place. Now, we all know cockroach is omnivorous. So, whatever it ingests, it eats is going to be done via the mouth. Okay? Mouth के अंदर preoral cavity जिसे हम कहते हैं, which then leads to hypopharynx. और इस hypopharynx में क्या ओपन होते हैं? तो salivary glands. So यहाँ पर मैं उसको इस कदर ड्रॉ कर देती हूँ for you to understand it. Okay? ये of course salivary glands नहीं है, ये reservoirs है. Salivary glands अलग से पढ़ सकते हैं हम लोग. Okay? So ये basically salivary glands है जो मैं अभी ड्रॉ कर रही हूँ. Okay? So I shall label it here. This is the salivary gland. Now, remember salivary gland, as the salivary glands function in us, they produce saliva. So this saliva is definitely going to help in digestion of food. So जो भी cockroach खाना खाएगा, उसके oral area में there would be secretion of saliva. Salivary glands would secrete the saliva, which is stored in this particular reservoir, which is also at times called as a receptacle. So it stores the saliva and it releases it in the preoral cavity, which would certainly help in starting with the digestion of food. It mainly consists of the enzyme amylase that helps in digestion of starch. Now, this starts the mouth, it continues into what? So let's try it. Okay, so I hope you can see it properly. So I shall shade it up a bit. Now, this anterior most opening is nothing but it's the pharynx. Now, what is the job done by the pharynx? Pharynx helps in transport of the food from the mouth to the next part, that is the esophagus, and also pharynx possesses taste sensillae, so that helps in tasting of food. Okay, so pharynx के दो functions आपने याद रखने, एक transport या conduction of food from the mouth to the esophagus, and second, it has taste sensillae, which will help in tasting of the food. So pharynx continues into this long tube, which is definitely narrow, and that is called as the esophagus. What is this esophagus going to help in? Esophagus is a muscular tube which will help in conduction of food to the next part. So esophagus helps in further conducting a transport of the food. जो खाना ओरल कैविटी में था वो pharynx में आ गया, अब वो pharynx से आगे esophagus में जाएगा, और esophagus के मूवमेंट की वजह से जो कॉन्ट्रैक्शन और रिलैक्सेशन होता है, जो कि एक मस्कुलर ट्यूब है, we call it as peristalsis, you may be aware of. So because of that peristaltic motion, what would happen is the food that would be now present in the esophagus will be transported ahead into this large region. This large region, I shall just draw some dots here to indicate that these are the food particles. Okay, now this large region is called as the crop. Okay, crop का function, major function होता है storage of food. Okay, crop you can see is the large part and it is meant for storage of food. And this crop continues into another area, slightly larger and a rounded area. This is called as the gizzard, which is also at times called as the proventriculus. Okay, it is also called as the proventriculus. Now, why is it called as the proventriculus? Pro यानी before. Okay, so इसके आगे वाला जो part है, I will better draw it so that you understand it. Okay, so this part, I shall label it. This part is the ventriculus, which is nothing but the stomach. Okay, now before we go ahead with this, pharynx, esophagus, crop, and the gizzard. These are the parts of the foregut, which is also called as the stomodium. Okay, that is the first part of the alimentary canal of cockroach. So it is called as the foregut or stomodium. Now, crop stores the food. What about the gizzard? Gizzard is internally lined by 6 longitudinal teeth, chitinous teeth. Now, what do I mean by chitinous? Chitinous simply means that it's made up of chitin, which is going to provide it a hard surface which helps in crushing of food. So, gizzard एक ऐसा एरिया है जहां पर खाना सेकेंड टाइम क्रश किया जाता है. उसके साथ साथ it also acts as a filtration apparatus. It filters, यानी जो खाना पहले माउथ में थोड़ा बहुत क्रश हो जाएगा, ओके, थोड़ा बहुत, नॉट एंटायरली, राइट. सो बाकी का खाना जो आएगा ईसोफेगस में, क्रॉप में, वहां से वो आएगा गिजार्ड में. तो गिजार्ड में जो खाना आएगा उसमें आज भी थोड़े थोड़े, आई मीन तब भी कभी भी कोई एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम उसमें छोटे छोटे लार्जर या छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल्स हो सकते हैं. तो उसे क्रश करने का काम गिजार्ड के अंदर मौजूद जो 6 काइटिनस टीथ होते हैं वो करते हैं. अब सोचो कि एक आध पार्टिकल लार्ज होगा, if it's not really completely crushed. In that case, the chitinous teeth which are present inside the gizzard, which are seen very distinctly in the transverse section of the gizzard, it acts as what? It helps in mastication, or you can say crushing of the food. ओके और जो डाइजेस्ट और अदर जो पूरी तरह से क्रश नहीं किया होगा तो वो नीचे की तरफ नहीं जा पाएगा because the way the chitinous teeth are organized inside the gizzard, it not only helps in crushing of the food but it also helps in what you can say filtration. So all those particles which are not really converted into smaller ones or which are not properly crushed would not go down. Okay, so gizzard has a double role. First, it helps in crushing of the food, and second, it also acts as the filtration apparatus. Now, coming to the next. Now, there are not many books which have mentioned this, so let me tell you. From here, as you know, I have labeled it, this marks the end of the foregut or the stomodium. यहाँ पर एक sphincter होता है. Sphincter, you know, is a rounded muscle, which is called as the stomodial valve. Valve को valve को एक ही बात है. So this stomodial valve will ensure that the food that will be going ahead, that is into the midgut, won't reflux या regurgitate back, won't have a backflow into the foregut. Okay, so यहाँ पर एक valve होता है, ये भूलिएगा नहीं. Also remember, from here, the midgut starts, right? And at the junction of the foregut and the midgut, we find there are 8 finger-like appendages, and these are called as the hepatic CK or also at times called as the gastric CK. CK is generally used for singular one. Now, hepatic CK or gastric CK, they release many enzymes which will help in further digestion of the food. And when are they going to open up? They're going to open up in the next part, which is quite a long and a coiled part of the digestive system. This part is basically the mid-gut, also called as the mesenteron. Now, mid-gut or mesenteron is that part or is that area जहां पर maximum digestion भी होगा, absorption भी होगा. ठीक है. Mid-gut is internally lined by peritrophic membrane. Now, this point is not really given in all of the textbooks, so इसको याद रखिएगा. Peritrophic membrane. Now, this peritrophic membrane is the one which protects the inner lining of the midgut. See, the particles, you can't expect cockroach to eat all the softer parts or the softer food materials, right? So, the harder food materials never go and damage the midgut. The reason is because the midgut is internally lined by peritrophic membrane, which prevents it from, you can say, getting obliterated, you're getting broken, you're getting punctured, in simple words, right? So peritrophic membrane जो होता है ये इसको internally protect करता है और इस मिड गट में ज्यादातर डाइजेशन भी होता है और एब्सॉर्प्शन भी होता है. अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि एब्सॉर्प्शन कैसे होगा. Absorption is possible, it's very easy. The reason is very simple because इसके बाजू में होते हैं fat bodies. Okay, फैट बॉडीज जो होते हैं इसके आजू बाजू में है. सो वहां पर फैट बॉडीज में फैट्स के अलावा यहां से मिले हुए जो भी सब्सटेंसेस है वो भी एब्सॉर्ब हो जाते हैं, स्टोर भी किए जा सकते हैं एज अ रिजर्व फूड मटेरियल. नाउ दिस midgut consists of lots and lots of enzymes because internally there are many of the glands which can release up enzymes. अब कौन से enzymes होंगे? maltase, amylase, lipase, tryptase, okay, and invertase. These are the enzymes which will basically act on the food there in the midgut. I hope you can see that now, right? So midgut में ये enzymes काम करने की वजह से क्या होगा कि these enzymes will ensure that the food is properly digested. अब ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि सबका सब खाना पूरी तरह से वाकई में वहां पर डाइजेस्ट होगा ही होगा. ठीक है. सो इसके बाद खाना जो है इट विल एंटर. अब खाना नहीं बोल सकते, इसको अनडाइजेस्टेड खाना कह सकते हैं, टू बी मोर प्रिसाइज। ठीक है, अब ये कहां पर आएगा, तो इट विल कम टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट। ओके, ये नेक्स्ट पार्ट है। एंड अगेन इस जंक्शन पर देर आर मेनी 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 100 to 150 hair like structures that are found at the junction of the midgut and the hindgut. So at the junction of the midgut and the hindgut, there are 100 to 150 fine hair-like structures which are called as the Malpighian tubules. What are they? Malpighian tubules. And these Malpighian tubules, they are involved in filtration of the nitrogenous waste products that are formed during the metabolic processes. So जो भी nitrogenous waste products body के अंदर बनेंगे, they are going to be actually released into the next, that is the hind gut via the Malpighian tubules. अब इसे आपको और एक पॉइंट समझना है कि हाइंड गट जो है, लेट मी फर्स्ट लेबल दिस इज द हाइंड गट, ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज द प्रोक्टोडियम। ओके, अब इसमें मैल्पीगियन ट्यूब्यूल्स भी ओपन हो रहे, तो इसे आपको क्या समझना है, आपने ये समझना है कि हाइंड गट में अनडाइजेस्टेड मैटर के साथ साथ एक्सक्रीटरी प्रोडक्ट्स भी आने वाले। So from this you have to understand that the hind gut is not only going to be helping in expulsion of the nitrogenous waste products, but it is also going to be involved in the expulsion of the undigested matter. Now ये जो hind gut है, again it is divided into three parts. The first part is the ileum, which will receive the nitrogenous waste products as well as the undigested matter. From there, it will be passed ahead to the next part, that's the colon. And from there, it shall be passed on to slightly dilated structure that's called as the rectum, wherein the undigested and the nitrogenous waste products can be stored temporarily. Now, again, before I go ahead, the rectum is internally lined by 6 rectal pads. Basically, it is lined with columnar epithelium. I shall just scroll it up here. These rectal pads are lined up with columnar epithelium. Now, what will be the significance or the importance of this? Okay, now rectal pads, which are lined by columnar epithelial cells, basically are involved in the absorption of water and important ions, that is, they're required by the body. So instead of throwing it out, they are reabsorbed by the hindgut. So hindgut basically is involved in the reabsorption of water and some important ions which otherwise would have been egested out. And this rectum opens to the exterior by one opening, that is anus, which is found at the terminal end of the alimentary canal. Okay, so this is what is the digestive system of cockroach. I shall revise it up quickly. So the digestive system of cockroach is basically made up of two main parts. The alimentary canal, I shall show it to you here, scroll it up here. The alimentary canal and the salivary glands. The alimentary canal is further made up of three parts: the foregut, the midgut, and the hindgut. Foregut, that is also called the stomodium, consists of mouth, pharynx, esophagus, crop, and gizzard, which is also called as the proventriculus. Then it is followed by the midgut, but at the junction of the foregut and the midgut, we have hepatic caecae, also called as the gastric caecae, which is 6 to 8 in number, point to be remembered. And these are ones which secrete the digestive juices that helps in the process of digestion. This is followed by the stomach, that is ventriculus, which is a major organ which is involved in the absorption as well as digestion. Of course, digestion comes first and this is followed by absorption. At the junction of the midgut and the hindgut are the Malpighian tubules, which will be involved in throwing out the excretory substances that are produced in different parts of the body into the hindgut. Hindgut is made up of ileum, colon, rectum, which opens to the exterior via the anus. Hindgut is basically concerned with the reabsorption of water and some important ions which otherwise would have been expelled out. Now, this is the diagram once again for you to understand how to draw it. I've already uploaded one video for the diagram, only the diagram of the digestive system of cockroaches. Shall be putting up the link of the same in the description box so that you can directly watch it up. And friends, if you really like this up, please, this acts as my ATP. It helps me to get energized. Do not forget to like, and if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get to know about many more exciting videos on this channel. Okay, and learning can be made fun here. And if you have any suggestions to make, please, 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 आपके suggestions, आपके comments, definitely उनका इंतजार रहेगा. अब गेटिंग बैक टू दिस वंस अगेन, और एक पॉइंट जो मैंने बताया है आपके टेक्स्ट बुक्स में नहीं है. द मिड गट इज लाइंड बाय पेरिट्रॉफिक मेम्ब्रेन व्हिच प्रोटेक्ट्स इट. वहां पर जो एंजाइम्स होते हैं इनके भी मैंने नाम लिखे हैं, ये भी सब बुक्स में दिए हुए नहीं है. माल्टेज, अमाइलेज, लाइपेज, ट्रिप्टेज, इनवर्टेज, all of these enzymes help in the digestion of the food. That's the reason why I said mid gut में maximum digestion भी हो जाएगा, साथ में absorption भी हो जाएगा. ठीक है, क्योंकि बाहर होते हैं फैट बॉडीज हीमोसिलोमिक कैविटी में, वहां पर एब्सॉर्प्शन इजीली हो सकता है. एंड दिस कंटिन्यूज इनटू द हाइंड गट व्हिच इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज द प्रोक्टोडियम. एंड एट द जंक्शन ऑफ द मिड गट एंड द हाइंड गट देयर आर Malpighian tubules which are going to release the nitrogenous waste products into the hind gut. Hind gut consists of three parts: the ileum, the colon, and the rectum. Okay, rectum is going to store this waste products as well as the nitrogenous excretory products temporarily, and anus will release it out. So friends, this was all about the digestive system of cockroach. अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो प्लीज उसको लाइक कीजिएगा, सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल एंड हक से बोलिएगा और आपको मुझसे क्या पढ़ना है. सो इंतजार रहेगा. थैंक यू सो मच.